Hi, I'm Muhammad Sami Ardanhon, and this video is to demonstrate how MySihat works. MySihat is an offline medical record system I have built for Malaysian rural clinics. It runs entirely on local machine, like for here. I run the front end with byte and run the back end with node. So this interface here is the first screen you see, and it runs entirely on local machine and without needing the internet and cloud. So the patient history data will be stored in cards like this. This is a Java card, Java smart card, and it is the same hardware class as our IC MyKad chip. So any clinic with the reader will be able to read it instantly without internet. So say if I insert one card here, and without and even without the internet here, so if I open the airplane mode, I can just sign in and read the data instantly here. And whenever I want to switch card, for example, just to show this is patient 200 and these are the records. If I switch and click end session and I switch to another card here, just for a second, and it will show up with patient number 142 and with different records. All the data I read from the chip, the EEPROM from the card. From the record screen, each row of records here, there are date, diagnosis, ICD-10, medication, status and hex, and each of this record only takes up to 6 bytes of storage, and this is very important because the chip has very limited amount of storage. So by compressing all the data into integers and codes, we only need 6 bytes to store, and that's why we can store so many records in the chip while having a very limited storage. While we are still on the screen, you might be wondering, if the chip is so limited in space, what happens if there are so many records that it fills up the chip storage that is meant to be MySihat? There's no problem because I use the circular buffer mechanics. So the latest records will rewrite the first records, and it will never end, and it will keep repeating, and they will always have the most recent patient medical history. And also, I want to mention that I use ICD-10. So although the data is compressed into a codes and integers, it will be mapped back to ICD-10 when read from the computer. I use a code book to map the integer and the ICD-10, so it will be converted to the standard ICD-10. And say if one day this system is integrated into a larger hospital system, it will be directly readable. Now let's explore the add record function. So if I want to add record, simply click it, and I need to select the diagnosis, say essential hypertension with amlodipine 5 mg, and visit date and status can be resolved or critical or just active. I can save to card. So when I click save, it records successfully and it will directly return into the card here without internet at all. Say if I pull out the card right now, the history will be there because the history are saved into the SQLite, and unless I click the end session button, it will be here. But they can't write. For example, at record, I just click anything here and save to card. It will say fail to write record to card because the card is not inserted. So they know the difference in the system. One last thing I want to mention is that this Java smart cards, which is the same hardware class as IC, will be the single source of truth of the patient history data for MySihat. However, we still want to have a database that can store all the patient data that doctor can access if with different clinic if needed. So as you can see here, because I turned off airplane mode, this is offline now, and two records are queued to upload to the database. So if I open the connection right now, I just do this, and the sync function will be fired every 30 seconds. So once it detects that we have the internet, it will change to sync and it will upload to the database. And don't worry about data conflict because the data sync will be append only, meaning whatever the clinic have of the patient history data, it will just upload and append at the end of the current medication history of the said patient. All right, now it's synced and now it will be uploaded to the database. uh for now, because for it is out of this project scope, it is not in the database. However, I do use a single use webhook site to test. And here it's 9:12 a.m. It posts the JSON, the raw content of what I already did just now. Patient 142, date, and all the information here. And in a real system, it will be uploaded to a small central database, and it will record all the data from the uh, JavaCard, and there will be no conflict because this is a single source of truth. And patient can be at the one clinic at the only one time. So say today the patient is over here, and the other is over there. It will just append the medical records here and there. And once they have the internet connection, they will just upload up to append only with dates to the database system. And that concludes my MySihat demonstration. Feel free to check my GitHub repo link I shared in the description. The files are all here, and there are also the architecture explanation and documentation of what I did in the README. Thank you very much for watching and also listening and for your time.